Amanita Design makes weird games. Machinarium? Weird. Botanicula? Even weirder. But it's the good kind of weird. The highly creative and entirely original kind. So, how does Creaks fare on this front? Does it live up to the studio's patented brand of weirdness? Absolutely. But don't take my word for it. Seeing is believing. You can't choose your neighbours. Some will be noisy, some will be quiet. Some will live in fantastical towers built beneath the very foundation of your home. Okay, that last one is an unsettling development that demands further investigation. So, with flashlight in hand, we set out exploring, on a trajectory to meet the neighbours. We've established that Amanita's games are weird, sure, but they're also instantly recognisable. Just take a moment to marvel at Creaks' visuals, friend. I mean, it's pretty stunning, right? A good aesthetic goes a long way, and that about sums up Amanita's signature style. It's one that's all hand-drawn 2D goodness, brought to life with sharp attention to detail. Hook it to my veins. I hope you're steady on a ladder, because our descent through the tower sees a lot of them. So what's the deal with this place? Seems a bit on the dilapidated side, right? Maybe, but don't mistake that for abandoned. All manner of folks call this place home after all. Once in a while, we'll catch a glimpse of the tower's inhabitants. A variety of anthropomorphic bird characters who are tearing the place apart, clearly looking for something. Perhaps it has something to do with whatever is outside causing earthquakes and general havoc. And judging from the occasional sightings, today might not be the best time to meet the neighbours. Probably should have called ahead, right? But are the bird folks friend or foe? Too soon to tell. We'll just have to keep monitoring their activity. There's a whole lot less ambiguity when it comes to the other residents. More on that later. Superficially, Creaks comes across as a platformer, but that's not really the case at all. It's not a traditional point-and-click adventure game along the lines of Machinarium either. Here, you'll be solving puzzles. So many puzzles. Designed to test a fragile ego. If you're anything like me, some puzzles will click in an instant. You'll immediately know what to do, wasting no time executing a plan of fiendish proportions. These instances, always satisfying. Believe me, you'll absolutely feel like a genius afterwards. Flailing your arms, smiling like an idiot, and mentally smack-talking the game. Take that, Creaks. Soak it all in, friend, because the highs often prove short-lived, and inevitably followed by a low. Let me tell you about the other, more humbling instances where you'll be fighting off an overly chatty inner monologue, who's putting together a very compelling case that you just might be an idiot. My advice? When things get tough, don't listen to that jerk. Spiraling into an existential crisis ain't exactly conducive to overcoming your predicament. Instead, embracing the patience thing is always good for what ails ya. Cool heads prevail and all that good stuff. And getting reacquainted with the whole trial and error thing, always a good idea too. Some puzzle games are kinder and gentler. I'm looking at you, The Last Campfire. This one's more punishing though. Mess up, and there will be consequences. You best believe it happened often enough for me to put together a montage of screw-ups. But nothing a simple load can't fix. That's our cue to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and persist until we make things right. Every new bad guy encountered brings with it an interesting hook or puzzle-solving mechanic. First contact is all about deciphering their logic. Flying jellyfish. Robot dogs. Mimics. Reverse mimics. Goats. All not without their murderous charm. Look, I'm sure there's some sort of bestiary on the interwebs, detailing all their proper names. But who's got time for that? We've got puzzles to solve, so it's time to kick ass and not take names. Turns out, light is a valuable tool here to stop bad guys in their tracks or redirect their movement. The monsters literally turn into furniture when caught beneath a light source. What's up with that? Good question, friend. Best not to think too much about it though. That's the kind of thing that'll keep you awake at night. Getting past a mimic is like a carefully orchestrated dance where one false step can mess up the whole thing. But it's a mechanic that does lend itself to all kinds of creative puzzle solutions. Still, I spent an embarrassingly long time trying to get my head around this one. The puzzles ramp up in difficulty when all the varied enemy types start appearing together. Managing all the unique quirks simultaneously requires careful consideration before making your next move. You'll be luring folks to a specific place at a specific time, moving objects to hold down pressure pads, and finding creative ways to outrun all your demons. Fear not though, maybe there's time for love too. Still stuck though? Worst case scenario, the internet is filled with walkthroughs. But shh, you didn't hear that from me, okay? Full disclosure, I had to look up a solution a few times. In most cases, I had missed something obvious or hadn't wrapped my head around a mechanic fully. Usually because I'd run out of patience and was trying to rush my way through. Patience is a virtue. Looking up a hint obviously doesn't give you that puzzle solving high, but sometimes you just want to move on. It usually doesn't take long to build up momentum again afterwards. Games of this nature tend to offer journals or audio logs to help deepen their settings with lore. So how's that accomplished here? Well, you can tell a lot about a person by how they decorate their homes. That's definitely true in Creaks. In fact, nothing embodies the game's particular brand of weirdness more than the paintings on the wall. If a picture tells 1,000 words, you'll be tilting your head and furrowing your brow, deciphering what they're actually saying. But mostly smiling, because they're always delightful and so damn adept at bringing the surreal. Some are just meant to be gawked at, while others are interactive. They're the best ones. Maybe you'll be sword fighting, engaged in a shootout, or levitating a cow through a hoop. They tend to be rather clunky by design, but also a whole lot of fun. A detour well worth taking that also provides added incentive to scour every inch of your newfound surrounds. You want to find them all too. So be on the lookout for all the secret rooms hiding in plain sight. The story is told visually with no dialogue, but that's no surprise if you're familiar with Amanita's work. And they're very effective at it. This ain't their first rodeo. Turns out, meeting the neighbours proved a whole lot of fun. Does Creaks inspire me to want to go out and meet my actual neighbours though? Absolutely not. Creaks is weird, no question, but also well worth playing if solving puzzles is your thing. Okay, that's enough. That was Mosey Through. I'm Dan Clarke. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to mosey through to the like and subscribe buttons, friends.